Hi, my name is Courtney Terry, and this is Arts Alive. My guest today is Tor Strand. You are a writer and recent participant in the Rogue River Writers? No, did I get it wrong?
It's the Marjorie Davis Boyden Wilderness Writing Residency. It's
Okay.
a very long name.
Yes.
Yeah.
For a very important person. Glad you mentioned her.
Yeah, so the Boydens are the owners of the property, and so their mom, her name's Marjorie, so they named it after her. Yeah.
So it was a writing retreat, and it was located
on the Rogue River.
On the Rogue
down. Yeah, so way out in the middle of the wilderness on the wild and scenic portion of the Rogue River. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then your role was
So, I mean, basically, I was there taking care of this homestead. Basically, it's 92-acre place, so just making sure everything's in order, keeping the meadow borders mowed, and checking the water systems for there's two cabins out there. So, and most of the time I was there by myself, so I have to make sure there's no leaks or anything going on with the pipes and things like that. But beyond that, I'm just there to write. So, yeah.
That seems like a really incredible balance of what sounds like a lot of like hard physical outdoor work with the creative writing process. Do you feel like that was that part of the point?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a definitely place where you can fall into the work of the manual work, or you can fall into the writing process. But I like to have that exchange, like you say. If you get stuck writing, then you can go for a walk. You can go mow some weeds, anything like that, and just sort of shift your focus of the mind. And then you can go down to the river. That always helps too.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I feel like there is a pretty good relationship between writing and the outdoors and rivers and being outside. There's a very, Walden Pond.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like, I think it's a dream. It's definitely a dream for writers to have that opportunity.
It's an amazing place there. It's remote though, so 2 hours down a dirt road and no cell service and no, you just have a satellite phone and you're there. So it's a little bit scary in that respect, but once you sort of realize that you'll be all right and just take away all the outside forces that you don't have to worry about.
Right.
No phone, all that stuff. It's a different way of being alive almost. Like a friend of mine was just saying, that's not a place you go to escape, it's a place you go to arrive, which I really liked.
That's brilliant. And how long were you there for?
I was there the whole summer, so about 4.5 months, roughly. Starting, I got in a little late because there was a big tree down, so I got in around the start of May and left, just right beginning of fall, October and September.
Oh, wow. So, that's a really amazing way to spend a summer.
It's hot out there, but I love it. Yeah.
And I guess, how did you find out about this program?
Yeah, so I found out about it from my writing mentor. I graduated from Linfield in 2018, and Joe Wilkins was my writing teacher there. He did the residency while I was in school, so he told me just for the future, have this on your mind and apply at some point. So the right year seemed to come, and so I applied. Yeah.
And when you did you have like a manuscript that you were working on? Did you have something already, or did you go into it wanting to create something new, or a little bit of both, I guess?
Yeah, some of both. So at Linfield, I studied writing, and so I had a creative thesis of poems. so my goal was to work on that out there, sort of re-edit those poems. It'd been, several years. I hadn't looked at them for a while, so picking out ones I liked there, writing new ones, putting those all together, and hopefully leaving with a full collection, which I guess I sort of did. Haven't sent it out yet, but definitely got closer to that goal, and went from that residency into grad school. So it was sort of a nice leaping off point to start an MFA program. Yeah, I'm down at Oregon State. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
And I'm just curious. So what, when you're kind of looking at these poems, the place that you were when you wrote them before compared to being in that isolated wilderness, I mean, how much perspective did you notice changing, or even just could you tell just from being in that space that it was changing parts of your perspective? Absolutely.
Yeah, so being out there, I would write in a different way than I would in a cafe, maybe. It's not necessarily better, but, in a cafe, you're noticing maybe human things. But out there, you're noticing a bird, or you're noticing the sound of wind. So, those different modes of image and will make their way into the work. The other thing out there that changes is you have libraries, you have books everywhere. So you get stuck, you pull a book on insects and flip to a random page, start reading about a type of beetle, and then all of a sudden you're writing about that. So that sort of leaping effect that you can only make happen when you're not distracted by the world, the human world, I guess.
Right.
That's a way that's really special to a place like that. Yeah.
Did that transition to human contact is that something that you were familiar with or had experienced before, or was it kind of a reach for you to?
I'd stayed out at cabins and things for a few days, but I'd never done anything so long like that, of several months. I would come out every so often, every few weeks or so, but no, I never tried anything like that. And it's difficult. You get waves of loneliness and waves of ecstasy, I guess. It's more like high highs, low lows that you can't mask, maybe, like you can here. And you just have to, you're there by yourself. You got to feel those emotions. So that can be scary, but also very freeing and lovely. So, yeah.
I imagine that the slowing down would also help the writing process too.
Well, you read more, you write more, just because you have the time. You're not on your phone and you're not working on. Some people aren't emailing you all the time to work on things. So, it's great. I tried to write about the place and then also write about memory and about people of distant things, sort of both, because I felt that helped. If I just only wrote about the place there, it seemed too repetitive. Mm-hmm. So I tried to edit old stuff, write new stuff, mix it all up, and yeah. That's usually my writing process, grabbing a few lines from old poems, putting them in new ones, and seeing what happens.
Yeah. And I'm curious, you studied writing at Linfield, and then what kind of led you, I guess, the order of operations? Did you know that you were going to be going into grad school when you went for the retreat?
I didn't know. Yeah, I'd always had an MFA sort of on my mind after Linfield, but decided to wait a few years. I wanted to just make sure I was ready for those 2 years, since it's such an intense process being in the MFA. So I hung around here in McMinnville. I worked at Remy Wines for almost 5 years. And I loved that work, and the process of winemaking, I think, was a wonderful thing. Still writing about it now.
Yep.
But I gave a little bit of a gap, and then got this residency, and that sort of reinvigorated me to. I was like, okay, maybe it is time to start applying. I didn't know I would get in, obviously, so that was an unknown, but sent out applications. It's a year-long process, so I didn't know until I was already out there. So yeah, ended up lining up, but it was very well could have not lined up either. Yeah.
And I guess what led you to the program at OSU?
Their program just really stuck out to me. The faculty, first of all, they encourage a lot of crossover in genre, which I'm interested in. I obviously write poetry more, but I like nonfiction as well. Nonfiction essay and poetry can be really similar in some ways. You can write poetic essays, obviously. So I love that. They encourage you to take workshops in other genres. So it's also a fully funded program, which is necessary for an arts school since there's no guarantee for work.
Right.
I'm actually on strike right now in the graduate school.
Okay.
So, I don't know if we want to talk about that. But,
read the news.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, but it's a wonderful program, and just to be in conversation with poets. That was my main goal, to be back in school. Just I missed that community aspect. Sometimes it's difficult to find poets out in the full world.
Yes.
And as you know, so you have to make community events, and with a workshop built in every week, like in grad school, it's just a really valuable thing for me. Yeah.
That's incredible. And so your manuscript, are you actively seeking publishers? I guess, have you started, or are you?
I'm close, but not quite. I definitely.
It's a process.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's because I'm working on now my thesis for school, so have a bunch of new stuff, old stuff, like that same kind of thing going on that I was doing a few years ago. So I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have something soon, but it's a strange process making a book, and I don't know how to do it always. So lots of help along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk and kind of in terms of going back to your time at the
Marjorie Davis Boyden. Yeah.
But retreat. Were you part of your writing process? I mean, you didn't have anybody for that kind of feedback. So did you find yourself having to try and really do as much editing as you can, or just like putting that away till somebody like? How did you handle that?
I just continued writing, and sometimes you don't know if you have something or not. But like I said, you can always keep it for later. You can grab a line from it. So it's writing poems is difficult. So if you can get anything out, I don't think it's wise to just throw it right away, even if you can't give it to someone. But hold on to it, and then when you can, show it to someone, see what they say. So it was different, not being able to do that. Sometimes you write something you're really excited about,
right.
And then you're like, well, I guess I'll show it to someone in a few weeks. But
can't wait.
Yeah. I definitely had that moment of like, oh, I can't send this to a friend. It's strange.
And in retrospect, what would you suggest to any writers out there that are thinking about those kind of opportunities? Like for you were able to have somebody that kind of shared with you about it, but.
I'd say go for it. Really, I mean, if you're wanting space and time to write, that's the place to go. I mean, that's almost for some people maybe too much space.
Right.
But so I'd say. Take that into account too. If you're, if you want a gap of days and hours to sit and look at the trees blow in the wind, start a garden, and they have a garden out there. You can plant whatever you like. So I mean, lots of freedom.
Yeah, that sounds like an incredible experience.
Oh yeah. Very thankful.
have to ask, did you have any fun wildlife encounters while you were there?
I saw some black bears. Yeah, three black bears.
Yeah.
They all ran off pretty quickly. They were not interested.
That's good.
So
mind our business.
That's right. There's some. They have an old apple orchard out there too.
Oh.
So the black bears will come and knock the trees and grab some apples. So that's pretty cool to see. I didn't see any cougars, but they're there. And then, little critters and foxes and tons of deer and skunks and so many birds. The birds are everywhere there, which is just incredible. Yeah.
It sounds you're in Oregon wilderness.
Yes.
And sounds like the creative process went.
Full-on wilderness. The trees there are incredible. It's a mix of conifers and hardwoods, and so you just get this whole wonderful array of different forest trees. And
That's wonderful. Well, Tor, thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience, and good luck with your master's program.
Thank you very much. Really happy to be here.
Thanks, Courtney. My name is Courtney Terry, and this has been Arts Alive. Thank you.